Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Cardamom Mousery, formerly Brookie Cookie Creatures for the OGs out there. So I'm currently a little bit sick. I've got a cold if you can't tell, but I wanted to try making a new format of videos. So this is going to be a bit of an experiment. Not an actual video of mice today, but instead I'm going to let you guys get a peek into what I do to plan ahead for pairings. And also just give you some behind the scenes for like what I do when I am deciding what to do in my mousery. Because dealing with the mice, all the hands-on stuff, that's only a part of what goes into mouse breeding. But you've also got like the genetics behind the scenes, planning out pairings, keeping track of who you've got and how they're related to each other. All of that stuff is also important. So this is going to be just basically me going over some of my plans with you, and just chatting about some things that have been happening in the mousery recently. And if this format feels good, then I might go ahead and try doing some more videos like this. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let's just get into what I've got written down here so far. So on this list, currently what I'm working on is my mousery pairings for the next little bit. I've just gone through and I have written down all of the mice that I have right now. And you won't probably know what a lot of my notes mean, because I use a lot of abbreviations, but for those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you on YouTube, because I've mostly done my announcements on my Facebook Mousery page, but my Mousery was exposed to a virus, and I'm going to do some coloring work while I chat, just because I enjoy it, but my Mousery got exposed to a virus called MHV, which is a very annoying virus that's thankfully not the worst virus out there, but definitely not ideal, and because I got exposed to MHV in my mousery, I had to do a burnout. And what a burnout entails with mouse breeding is basically you can't breed your mice for a while until the illness is at least likely eradicated. It's not a perfect thing, you can't know for absolute certain, but you can just do your best to eradicate it. So that's what I've done, at least for one group. And don't mind that, I'm going to be slowly dying throughout this whole thing. I was too impatient to wait until I felt better, though, to try this. And I mean, I'm also working on this now, so y'all get to enjoy me rasping and my voice cracking. Fun times. But yeah, so MHV, the whole burnout thing, I had to split my mousery into two groups, because you have to start burnout once the mice are weaned. So I had young pups, and I had a couple pregnant females when I found out that my colony was likely exposed. And I decided to let those females have their pups and go ahead and raise them. And of course that meant that those younger mice would have to start quarantine at a later date. But if I waited... these are all the younger ones over here, by the way. If I waited for all of these guys to be ready for quarantine before quarantining everybody else, a lot of these ladies actually would have been too old to breed by the end of quarantine. Because with mice, your breeding period is 6 months. So from the time mice are born... Oh, that's too pale. Give me that, yeah. And let's do a rusty nib. So... mice have a very short breeding window compared to some other mammal species. So you've got when they're born to about, usually 8 weeks is when most breeders, 8 to 12 weeks is usually the minimum age when breeders first breed. So this is like your first pairing is usually between 8 and 12 weeks. So that's usually between 2 and 3 months. And your max age for breeding for the first litter is 6 months. So once a mouse reaches 6 months old, if you have not bred them at least one time, you cannot breed them at all, because their hips will have fused and birth complications will become much more likely. So if you don't breed before 6 months, you're out of luck. If you have a mouse that you really need to breed for your program. If you've already bred the mouse, then you can breed up to 9 months. Usually most breeders stop before then, but you can safely breed for that long if your first litter has already happened before 6 months. So with that in mind, all of these ladies right here in the group 1, that's what G1 up here means, they were all going to be too old to breed if I waited for this group to get to the right age before I bred them. So I just went ahead and I split my Mousery into 2 groups. Group 1 was all of the older females and males who were already ready for quarantine when I found out. And group 2 was all of the females and the young mice that still needed to give birth and grow up. You might notice this is not a whole lot of mice. It's only 16 total. And that's because even though I let these guys grow up, I did cull down my Mousery a lot. So before quarantine and burnout, I had probably somewhere between, I want to say I had 70 something mice. It was quite a few. But sadly, with burnout and quarantine, in order to be able to keep track of everybody health-wise and make sure everybody was as healthy as possible, I had to reduce my colony size. Oh, and all these doodles at the bottom, in case you're wondering, are just random. I have ADHD, and so when I'm working on stuff like this, I tend to get distracted. So I like to give myself a little bit of space for doodling when the urge hits me, unrelated things. So that's what all these are. But yeah, so I ended up, during quarantine and burnout, reducing my colony quite a bit, for the sake of, making sure that I had enough resources to take care of everyone who was left, and also just to make sure, that all of the mice that were left were the most robust and hardy and healthy, because even though the MHV wasn't super terrible of an illness, it actually did cause some problems. And MHV, it's one of those illnesses that weaker mice will have a harder time with. So as a breeder, it's my responsibility when stuff like that comes up to take advantage of the opportunity to be able to see how healthy my mice are and see if there are any genetically predisposed mice who are more prone to health issues. So I ended up keeping only the mice that did the best and were the healthiest throughout quarantine. There are a few mice here, like this guy. The reason he has this little mark here is because I'm noticing potential issues. Usually if I notice potential issues with a mouse, that means I may or may not want to hard or soft cull them, depending on what the issues are. For those who don't know, culling only means to remove from a breeding program. This does not always mean euthanasia, but it can mean euthanasia depending on the issues. Severe health issues, that's a reason for euthanasia. Same with severe behavioral issues that make it so they can't be rehomed as a pet or can't live with other mice in retirement. But a lot of times, we breeders actually soft cull, which is where we send them off to other homes or we retire them to pet colonies. Sometimes I'll end up doing that. I don't know what I'll do with this guy yet. But what I've noticed is he has this problem where his back, he tends to molt. Whenever he goes through a molt, the fur on his back breaks off and he's left with bald spots. And that is something that I believe is left over from one of the initial lines I got. Because one of the Texel lines that I started my teddy bear line with, they had really thin coats, but really good curls. So my good curl quality in my Texels, which is what he is, came from that line. But I also have some lingering problems with thinning hair that I'm selecting away from. I'm selecting for better, denser coats, which is something that, like this boy right here, he's a Color Point Smoke Splash. He's got a really nice dense coat. So I'm using him to improve my coats in my teddy bear line. And this boy, because of how bad the problem is for him, I'm probably gonna not use him for breeding more than once. So you'll see here all these lines that are going to various mice are breeding pairs that I currently have set up. So most of these guys have at least a couple ladies that they're paired with, but this guy up here only has one, and that's because he's got really good curls, but he's got that one problem. So I bred him to a lady with a very dense coat, and my hope is that she, her nice dense coat genes help out his poor quality coat genes, and we get some nice, densely coated teddy bear beans. They'll probably still carry some of the not so great coat genes from him, but we can hope that they get at least more of her genes than not. And then, let's see. I guess general plans. Right now, I used to, before burnout has, like, I have managed to salvage a lot of my lines from the illness and what I had to do for burnout, but it did reduce the amount of mice I was able to take care of at once, at least during that period, because since I had to split the groups up and put them in like various different areas, I didn't have as much resources or energy to split between them. So I ended up having to reduce the lines I had. Before quarantine, I had, here, let's switch back to this one. Before quarantine, I had my light show line. And then I had my dark show line. The light show line focused on color point beige, Siamese, ivory, anything with lighter points, or lighter colors overall. Like this mouse up here, the coloration at least would have been kind of the coloration of the light show line. And the dark show line focused on show mice that were black and agouti. So I don't have any colored in right now, but this lady right here, light show line lady, she's a blue point Siamese splash, and she's currently paired to a color point beige who's also from the light show line. This boy is an X black, or at least a head X black, and he's paired to a dark RY, and those are in the dark show line line. And then we've got the teddy bear line. I didn't really ever come up with a symbol for them, so I'll just put heart because they're cute. And then I had my chaos line, and I just called them my chaos line. KSRY, because they're recessive yellow. And then I was going to do a dominant hairless line. I may or may not be able to now because of the illness. Did I have any other lines? And then I just had like a vague group of like maybe mice that I like mixed in with other groups. So as you can see, I had at least 4.5 to 5 lines going on. But with quarantine, I've ended up basically just combining these lines together. So now I have 2 lines instead of 4. And my reasoning behind that is I'll have a line that focuses on show quality, which is like the large ears, the elegant body type, the long tail that you see on like this one and that one. And then I'll have a pet type line, which will be my teddy bear line, that focuses on cuteness and curls, good temperament, and stuff like that. And by having the 2 separate, but with similar, like the coloration, I'll be focusing less on, like, okay. So without a big background in, like, why I might keep a light and a dark show line separate, I'll basically say that, like, the light coloration, breeding for lighter colors requires different modifiers, which are, like, tiny genes that make slight differences in the quality of a color. So, like, you can have a Siamese that's warm and rich, but you can also have a really muddy, mealy Siamese, and the modifiers make a big difference in that. Light and dark genes don't always mix well when mixed together. So I would have kept the 2 separate so that for the dark show line, I could breed really nice dark blacks and agoutis. And the light show line I would have kept separate so I could focus on really nice points and also just on the type overall. Because light show line, there's less work to be done on color, so I can focus more on the quality of the type, getting me those really nice big typey ears and all that other stuff. Sadly, Right now, I probably don't have the time or space to keep the two lines separate. Maybe after I've recovered from burnout for a while, I'll be to the point where I can do that again. But for now, I'm just going to have a general show line. And I'll just symbolize it with this. And it will be mostly color point beige, blacks, and agoutis. I may or may not keep the agoutis somewhat separate at first because I just got a new line, a Florida line of agoutis. They're actually the mice that exposed my colonies to MHV, the little goobers. So at first I might keep them slightly separate because I don't know what they might carry, whether or not it will be problematic to my lines. But I'll at least start mixing my personal extreme blacks and my personal agoutis and my personal color point beiges together. And eventually I'll mix in the Florida agoutis to the show line. But yeah, you can see right here my current pairings. These guys are actually together right now. They're due in the next couple weeks. We've got, I'm going to change my layer real quick. Let's do, I'm still learning what all these do. And let's do bright red. Yeah, that works. So, I've currently got this boy. He's my color point splash boy. He's one of my oldest boys. These two guys right here are actually pretty old. They would be retired. I haven't retired them yet though. Thought about it. But this boy's basically retired. I don't really need him anymore, but I like him, so I keep him around. As I said, sometimes even if you cull a mouse, you just keep him around even if you're not breeding him. So that's why he doesn't have a color, because I'm not really breeding him. He's just my cute little polite agouti boy. But the color point smoke boy, who's Angora, I currently have him paired to this agouti tan lady. That's what these symbols here mean. Oh, and I'll be making a basic genetics video later on so that you guys can follow along with this stuff easier. But my hope with his pairing to her is to improve her size, improve her coat density, maintain a solid personality from him. Honestly, he has a lot of really good traits, so I want them to transfer to her because she is super sweet and very cute, and I like her coloration, but she's very delicate. So she just needs, my hope is her pups are a bit more robust than her. And then this boy, of course, the one that I was talking about with the problems, the hope, as I said, is the coat quality. I want to make sure that we get a denser coat on the pups from this litter. And he's actually really sweet, like insanely sweet. He's such a sweet guy. So, and she's not. She's not a sweet lady. So I'm hoping his temperament gets into some of the babies specifically. And then we've got our black self male. Alright, I'm on the wrong layer for coloring. There we go. He is a bit of a butt. He's kind of rude. He's not the worst. Like, he's not aggressive. He's just a bit anxious, and he's not super social. He's gotten a bit better over time, but that's because of time, not because of genetics. And as a breeder, the thing that matters to me is genetics. So, for that reason, most of my pairings to him are with sweeter females, or just because I really want to get his color and size, because he's a big boy. He's a big boy, which is great. And he also carries one copy of Extreme Black, which I'm trying to get more fully homozygous Extreme Blacks. So I bred him to one of my dark recessive yellows, who I suspect is homozygous X Black, in hopes of getting more nice dark recessive yellows. Here, let's turn that back to, there we go. So that was the goal with them, was just some nice dark, ideally some X Blacks. She's a bit smaller than him, so a bit more size, going for show qualities with this litter. And then I also paired him to this lady. She is kind of rude. She's a black self. She's a show cross Angora. And she also carries Extreme Black, actually. I didn't write it here, but hoping to get some X Blacks out of them as well, and mostly show quality. And then Color Point Beige boy right here, he is currently my best show type male. A gorgeous guy. He's fabulous. His temperament is really good. Let's see, am I on the wrong layer? Yes, I am. Okay. His temperament is really good. He's very sweet, very mellow. His type isn't as good as some people's type is. I'm still working on type because I did a bunch of outcrosses to pet lines, but he's not bad, all things considered. But he's paired to my blue point Siamese female. She's a splash. She's very pretty. Very sweet too. Good size. So these two are both good mice, as they are. The healthiest and most robust of all the mice that went into quarantine that were show type. And the goal with them is just to get more really nice show type mice. Hopefully, the thing with them is they're slightly related, which is actually ideal in this instance because my goal is to bring out any harmful recessives. Because they are still from a slightly new line for me, a lot of the potential harmful recessives could still be being carried by them, and by breeding them together, I am actually going to be able to pull out some of those less ideal genetics, and I can select away from it. So any pups that exhibit the genetics I don't want to see, I can breed away from, and any mice that don't exhibit it will be less likely to pass it on to future generations. And so it's a way of like purifying the bloodline between these two. They're not completely related, they're not siblings or anything, but they have the same grandparents. So the hope is just, or they have this, like one grandparent that's the same. So the hope is just to mix in that diversity while breeding away from the negatives that I know are in the show line. Some negatives I've seen are things like some known issues. When I first got this show line, I saw umbilical hernias, which just like it presents as just a little bump on their bellies when they're little. I've been selecting very heavily away from that. I also saw a lot of temperament issues. Super anxious when I first got them. They've also had poor milk production, and just poor maternal instinct overall. And, yeah. So those are some things that I'm looking to improve in these guys and make sure I don't see. This lady's never been a mom before, so we'll see how she does. So far, they're at least both sweet. Health looks pretty solid from the outside. So we'll just have to see how they do. Can't know for sure until they actually give birth, but we'll see. And then he's also paired to another color point beige, who he's actually a bit closer related to. They're cousins. So they shared, their parents were siblings. There we go. But, yeah. And in mouse breeding, we oftentimes do a bit more inbreeding than in other species, because it is a bit safer with rodents than with, like, say, dogs or cats, or especially humans. So we can get away with it a bit more, and it can actually be helpful. That's how a lot of lab strains came about. And then one more lady is also in with him, and it's my only remaining KSRY lady. Sadly, most of my like pure Chaos Line ladies and males were too old to make it through for breeding once burnout was over. So this lady is my only remaining Chaos lady. So she will be giving birth here, hopefully, in the next couple weeks. And she has been paired with the color point beige. So the hope is some show type mice out of her. And I'm hoping that her chaos genes offer some more genetic variety, because she is not related to this guy. Well, somewhat. He has a little bit of chaos line because I mixed my chaos line into everything. But the show line genes are not in her. So she's got a lot of genetic diversity to add to the show line, since his other two crosses are somewhat more related. And then we've got another dark RY right here, and this is a dark RY male. He is actually from my chaos line. He's one of my other he's my only other chaos line mouse, I think. Technically slightly outcrossed, but a bit more chaos line than some others. Very nice and dark. He's pretty chill, but the outcross I did a couple generations ago did introduce some like anxiety, so he's got a bit of that. But he's actually bred to an X-Black female. She's a very tiny, cute, sweet little X-Black Angora. Biggest problem for her is robustness, so the goal of this pairing is to get some X-Black mixed in, because I'm suspecting he's X-Black. And if I'm right, all of their babies should either be X-Black or present in ways that make X-Black make sense. So that will kind of prove out whether or not he is X-Black, at least to an extent, underneath all that RY. And I'm also hoping that his size passes on to her, and her sweetness passes on to him. So hope is sweet, X-Black based babies from these guys, basically. And I think that's all I'll go over for now. There are a few more plans that I have. These guys I can't breed at least for the next 4 weeks, so they will not be under consideration for a while. These guys are the, so I've got like this set that I didn't talk about. They're the younger ones from group 1. They're going to be bred here in the next week or so. There's still a bit of planning to do. And we'll see which one of these pairings work out, because usually not every pairing works out. There's always a female or two that have a litter that doesn't do super great, or they don't do super great, or the personality traits just don't line up, or something else goes wrong. But I'm hoping that at least the majority work out, so that I can build up my numbers again, because I'm at 39 total right now, which is still a solid amount of mice. Like, that's a lot, but not as many as I normally have. So anyways, hope you enjoyed in spite of my nasally voice at the moment. But that's just a look into what I do for planning and how I decide what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit. So I'll be making litter update videos finally for the first time in forever, because in a couple weeks I'll finally have litters again to update you guys on. I haven't had any litters for like 2 months, so wish these ladies luck and these guys luck on their adventures. Here's to hoping they have some little cuties here very soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one.